The Senate passed a $95 billion foreign aid package Tuesday morning. 22 Republicans in the Senate supported the bill, but Republicans in charge of the House say they won't even schedule a vote. The bill provides aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan and offers humanitarian assistance for Gaza. But it's the $60 billion for Ukraine that specifically has divided Republicans. President Biden says the stakes are high and getting higher after Donald Trump portrayed NATO allies as freeloaders this weekend, a misleading characterization that members of the alliance see as an attempt to weaken public support for NATO in preparation for possibly abandoning those member nations. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe reports.
The former president has sent a dangerous and shockingly, frankly, un-American signal to the world.
President Biden leveled a blistering attack today on Donald Trump for recently saying he wouldn't defend NATO allies from a Russian attack if they don't pay full dues to the alliance.
Let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
Can you imagine a former president of the United States saying that? The whole world heard it. The worst thing is he means it. No other president in our history has ever bowed down to a Russian dictator. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I never will. For God's sake, it's dumb, it's shameful, it's dangerous, it's un-American.
The president spoke after an all-night marathon debate in the Senate led to early morning passage of an emergency national security spending bill.
The bill, as amended, passes.
It would provide billions in military assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, but says nothing about U.S.-Mexico border security. And that's why House Speaker Mike Johnson says he won't bring it up for a vote.
National security begins with border security. We have said that all along.
House Republicans are increasingly taking cues from Trump, who has said they shouldn't support any border security deal that could benefit Democrats and President Biden. The president today said the stakes are bigger than that.
And I say to the House members, House Republicans, you got to decide. Are you going to stand up for freedom? Or are you going to side with terror and tyranny? Will we stand with America or with Trump?
If Congress fails to pass that national security emergency spending legislation, the White House has warned that Ukraine could very well struggle in its fight with Russia and potentially lose in the coming years. And of course, politically then, the president and Democrats would hang that issue around the necks of Republicans. John?
Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Thank you. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins me now from Capitol Hill. Hey, Nikole, what options are there for this package to make its way through the House, if are there any?
Well, obviously, the easiest option is if Speaker Johnson gives it a vote on the floor, which for now he seems like he's not going to do that anytime soon, although there certainly has been pressure on him to do that, both by the president and congressional Democratic leaders, from Leader Schumer to Leader Jeffries. But another potential option being discussed, which Leader Jeffries isn't ruling out, is potentially using this procedural mechanism known as a discharge petition, which in essence would allow Democrats to bring this measure to the floor if they could get enough signatures and support behind it, but it would require getting a few Republicans to sign on to move that forward. And as of now, unclear if the support is there. And then there's also the possibility of potentially going back to square one, right? Maybe breaking up this package. We have seen the speaker try to do that by forcing some of these standalone bills, for instance, solely funding Israel. So whether or not he decides to do that as a potential option or make another attempt also remains to be seen. But as we heard very clearly from the president today, he simply wants this national security supplemental package taken up now.
The 22 Republicans, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, voted for the support for Ukraine in the Senate. There's a lot of disagreement within the Republican Party about this. What is the nature of the disconnect between the 22 who voted for it and those Republicans who voted against it, which is there are a lot of those hold those same views in the House?
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, you have a lot of hawkish Republicans who feel, yes, Ukraine needs this aid. It's an important ally. We don't want to deny them that funding. Over in the House, there has been more scrutiny and more calls for greater oversight with respect to Ukraine. And so that is why you have more On the House side, a little bit of a disconnect because you either have some who want to perhaps maybe attach conditions to Ukraine funding, or they simply don't want to fund it at all. And so between opposition among those two factions, that really is kind of what's making it a difficult lift for the Speaker to try to bring this to the floor.
Nikole Killion on Capitol Hill for us. Thanks so much, Nikole.